What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cap Show. UFC 276 was amazing. I told you my lock pick of the week was Israel Adesanya, the biggest UFC star right now. If not, he's becoming the biggest star, the household name. I love Israel Adesanya, and a lot of criticism always comes back to him saying, well, he has boring fights. He runs away. He does this and that. Well, at the end of the day, he gets a W. That's all that matters. He's the champion at 185, although he does have his nemesis, Alex Pereira, who is 2-0 against Israel Adesanya. I think this fight makes sense for the UFC. Why not match these guys up? I mean, we saw what Alex did to Sean Strickland, knocked him out in the first round with ease. And really, when he fought Israel Adesanya, he beat him twice. Both in the kickboxing match. Obviously, UFC, MMA is a little bit different, but both of them are really excellent kickboxers, and I think this fight does make sense. Why not? Izzy versus the guy who's already beat him twice. I think for Israel Adesanya, that's the fight he wants, and I think same thing with Alex. He's coming in with this fight with all the confidence in the world, which he should be. You've already beaten Israel Adesanya. You know, he's the champion at 185. I say run this fight up next. I really do, but for Israel to beat Jared, look, you know, nothing against Jared, but that was my lock pick, man. It just made sense to me. Israel Adesanya, he's that type of guy. He has the talent, ability. He has everything going for him. I think the only person that can beat him is himself, and it hasn't defeated himself. So I love Israel Adesanya, where he's going, where he's taking the UFC to the next step. I just think, you know, looking at Alex Pereira, he's no joke. And I think Israel Adesanya understands, look, I need a better performance than this. Because if not, if I perform like I did last weekend at that card, I'm going to get knocked out yet again to him, dude. So there's no laying off here or taking a break. Like, Israel Adesanya has to be wide open in this fight, and I think this is Israel Adesanya's hardest fight in the UFC. It just makes sense for me like that. I mean, dude, Israel Adesanya, biggest star. You know, obviously the biggest disappointment all weekend was my Max Holloway pick versus Alexander Volkanovski. Look, shout out to Volkanovski. He's the champion for a reason, and I just thought in this fight, Max wasn't really at that sharp as Volkanovski was. Volkanovski was really sharp on all of his punches. Just everything he did was a little bit more sharper than Max Holloway, and that's why I think Max Holloway got the dub here, or lost a fight here, because Max Holloway's kind of on the defense mode. He was behind. He got that bad cut. I think it was in the first or second round, and it was just bad for Max all the way around. I just think Volkanovski's on a different level right now. Nothing to hang your hat on. Max Holloway, he's in the UFC Hall of Fame in my book. So nothing. What's next for Max Holloway? I think, you know, getting back to the X's and O's, getting some more big fights, maybe even a fight like McGregor, or, you know, maybe move up in weight and fight, you know, just somebody that's a big name right now. You know, like just somebody that's gonna sell high pay-per-views, get the money. You know, that's kind of like what a lot of these fighters are about. Ever since McGregor kind of changed the way of UFC fight pay, or just fighter pay in general, McGregor kind of made it possible to be like, hey, yo, bro, you can make millions of dollars doing this. You're not going to make just 40, 50 grand a fight here. You can actually make millions if you do it a better way, right? Trash talking more. Just Connor's that type of guy to sell more things. He really is. It's amazing how he does it. But Volkanovski, man, I think he should move up in weight. If you ask me, I think he should go up. I really do. I think he would even dominate in different divisions as well. He's just a smart IQ fighter, really disciplined. He's sharp at every punch he throws, and it looks like he can wrestle, but there was no takedowns here in this fight with the Holloway fight. It was just, you know, a battle here. And yes, Holloway did get some shots landed, but I go back to the second fight. I think Holloway was better at the second fight than in the trilogy fight that we saw over the weekend. I think Max Holloway was just on the defensive end, you know, going backwards. But, you know, a lot of people at the UFC 276 over the weekend. We saw a lot of UFC fighters. We saw Nate Diaz backstage slap another reporter. It's just Nate Diaz stuff. I can't wait for that. Charles Oliveira, the champion, was there. So much going on. A lot of speculation saying Michael Chandler and Dustin Gaethje, or not Justin Gaethje, that we already saw that fight. Michael Chandler and Dustin Poirier should fight. I think that would make sense for UFC fans, right? You know, Michael Chandler, very explosive. We know what Poirier can bring to the table, but as of right now, I would say Chandler, he has more to prove. He really does. I think he's got more to prove. He's more hungry right now. And this guy is a super freak athletic. He's just a freak of nature, dude. Michael Chandler's no joke. So I think if Poirier matches up with that, it's not necessarily the best matchup for Poirier. I'm telling you right now. But this card was awesome. Robbie Lawler lost. That was another fight I got wrong. I just think the biggest fight that I got wrong all weekend was definitely the Holloway fight. I believed in Holloway, even though the odds did increase for Holloway to get the upset. You know, the better odds, you know, coming late, but that kind of threw me off a little bit. Where it's like Vegas knows something that we don't know. You know, Vegas knows that, you know, Alexander's probably going to win this fight in spectacular fashion, which he did. You know, I don't think we're going to see a rematch here with Holloway Volkanovski. I just don't see it happening. I think Max Holloway, nothing to hang your hat on. I just don't think it was Max Holloway's A+ game that we saw. I thought it was a B, if that. I just think the way he just came out and everything, but nothing taken away. Shout out to Alexander. He's iconic, great performance of himself. But back to the champion, the main card, Israel Adesanya. You know, the light's the brightest when he shine the best. And I'm telling you what right now, Izzy, yes, a lot of people will say he likes to hit and run. He likes to stay away from the power. Well, I mean, if you're in a fight and you're going against a power puncher, that's what you're going to do, right? You're going to stay away from his overhand right. You're going to keep your distance and just fight smarter, you know, and that's what he did. And that's what Israel Adesanya does. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I'm going to take Israel Adesanya down and do this and that. It's easier said than done. You know, only one man's done that, and that was Jane. And that's going up to light heavyweight division, dude. Like, dude, I'm telling you, it's a different ballgame when you go up 15, 20 pounds in weight, dude. It's a big jump. So for Israel Adesanya at 185, that's his division. Now, I will tell you, the future fight, like I said before, is definitely Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. That's the fight to make, dude. I think I'd make that fight towards the end of the year, before the new year, 2023. I think this fight makes sense for all UFC fans, dude. I'm telling you what, this would be a great card. You know, not just put these two on the card, put other big names as well on the card. But speaking of other big names, Sean O'Malley, Sugar Shane. Look, dude, Sugar Sean, I think, you know, no contest. I believe it ended in the second round due to an eye poke. And really, I looked at the replay when Sugar Sean threw it, and I just thought, you know, the whole eye poke, it wasn't like he went into his eye. I think he just gazed his eye a little bit. Not saying it was fake or not. I think it had a factor, but a no contest, I just think that was kind of weak at all, honestly. I think for Sugar Sean, nothing to hang your hat on. You know, I think he was winning the fight, even though some of the judges were saying it was kind of an even fight, which I thought was pretty crazy. I didn't see Sugar Sean get hit really once. Maybe a couple times, but not like significant strikes where it's like, oh, shoot, he's going to get knocked out here. You know, he got caught with the overhand right. He got caught with the overhand left. No, it was nothing like that. I just think, you know, it's really just bad karma for Sugar Sean. I mean, what's next? Sugar Sean continue to dominate. You know, continue to impress Dana White. That's his main thing right now. Sugar Sean, he's a young fighter. He's young in the UFC. Still has so many more years left under his belt. I think his biggest obstacle for right now, him being young, UFC fighter, is to impress Dana White. You know, show up to work early. You know, don't complain. Just do all the dirty stuff that a lot of these fighters don't want to do. And when you put in the work like that, I think Sugar Sean could really become champion one day. I really do. And a lot of people don't like him that much. You know, he got different color hair. He dresses different. You know, all this stuff. Even with Israel Adesanya, people were giving him crap, painting his nails, all this stuff, masturbating to cartoons. It's just anything to get under the fighter's skin, right? Any leverage, anything, anybody will tell you anything in the fight game. That's just part of it. That's just part of the sport. They'll badmouth you anyway. They'll badmouth your family, anything to get under your skin, but it didn't work. For the champions, it typically does not work. Israel Adesanya, it didn't work for him. You know, it didn't work, dude. It just doesn't work typically for the champions. You know, dealing with that. You know, dealing with the press conferences, dealing with the media all the time. You know, sometimes you can get frustrated. You know, we've seen fighters get frustrated. Even like McGregor, Nate Diaz, those type of athletes, man, those type of fighters, they get frustrated as well. I mean, dude, they just don't care. You know, some people don't have a filter, some do. But that's why I like the UFC, because they kind of do what they want. They can say what they want, freedom of speech. You know, it's just like, dude, I'm telling you what, UFC and Dana White, they're winning. I don't know what the fighter pay is, and some people have their different opinions, say, oh, he underpays his fighters, blah, 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 all this. But at the end of the day, Dana White's not forcing people to fight. He's not doing it, dude. He's just signing the checks, writing it to him and saying goodbye. You know, let's sign up the next fight. That's all they do. But for Dana, man, he's just building an empire throughout the years. We go back to 2000. Dude, UFC was just a baby then. We fast forward 22 years later from 2000. It's just like, wow, dude, this sport continues to grow. People continue to watch it, and that's what they're going to continue to do. They love this sport, and I love it too. I really do. But for Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, these two guys, those were the champions, and they're still the current champions right now. And I think next for them, for Alexander, what's next for him is basically, dude, go up a division. Try to become champ like McGregor did. Why not? Israel Adesanya already attempted it, but failed to do that in the light heavyweight division. But I just think these two men right here, they're champions for a reason, and I'd love to see them get on the same card. Maybe even a card, at the end of towards wintertime. I think that would be great for UFC. Get these two guys back on the main card. I think it'd be great. Sugar Sean needs to bounce back, but I am anticipating, after watching UFC 276, hearing speculations, Israel Adesanya, Alex Pereira, we need to book that fight 100%, and we do need to see John Jones back in the octagon. I don't know what it is. A lot of people, he say, she say, whatever. I'm telling you right now, John Jones got to get back in the UFC he's got to, dude. He's just so talented, and to me, the longer we wait for John Jones to get back, the worse it's going to get. So I think all the talent in the world that John Jones has, he needs to get back in the octagon. I cannot wait to see, but UFC 276 did not fail. I told you my lock pick, it hit. It would have made you rich, baby. It's the Cloud with Cam show. Let's go!